Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Roselyne Wanjiku. What do we do here? Personal development, spiritual and relationship wellness matters. As usual guys, I'm excited to be on here to do yet another episode, to discuss yet another matter that really affects our individual lives. And today we are focusing on personal development. Of course, it's a unique episode as usual because topics are many to address, and I was really thinking about one topic that's very emotional. It can be very emotional because it involves people that we love. It involves people that we engage most with emotionally, spiritually. We hardly ever put too much thought into it when engaging with these people. And so I decided, let's talk about this, because if we don't talk about it, then it's going to affect us anyway. So it's a time bomb. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about black tax. And black tax basically is how you spending your finances, or the things that you spend your finances on and you hardly ever account for. Things like helping your parents, for example, helping your siblings, maybe meeting with friends here and there, the contributions you make in church, all these things look like you should not put much thought into it. After all, it's my friend, they can come through for me, it's my mother, it's my father, it's my sister, think about it. So all these relationships and the level of emotional attachment is what makes us not tend to put much thought into it when it comes to our finances. But today we want to change that, especially for the people who are just, or who've just gotten employed. And let me tell you guys, the thing about finances and the thing about your life financially, the period between when you get employed, for example, and the period when you retire speaks so much into the how your life turns out financially, the investments you get to make, how peaceful you are concerning your finances. Because if there's one thing that will interfere with your peace, is finances, and you all can bear me witness. So let's talk about it. What is the problem with black tax? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? One thing we will agree with is that no man is an island, so we all need each other. Somebody has put some financial investments into your growth, into your going to school, into your health, all these things. So you have to give back at the end of the day. So are we against black tax? Absolutely not. But we want to address the problems of black tax. This is not something that I'm speaking from personal experience only, but also having conversations with different individuals and how it has affected their day-to-day lives. Some are not even able to place boundaries. Some are not able to talk about it. So what is happening? They're getting trauma out of it, actually. So it's a big issue. We cannot afford to overlook it. And we will address three main issues that we need to think about when engaging in interacting our finances with our friendships, with our family, etc. And one of the things, or one of the problems I see with black tax is lack of a plan. When you get employed initially, or rather when you start earning, there is this excitement of umeshika pesa for the first time, and because of that, you want to come through for friends, you want to meet your friends, you want to do stuff for yourself, buy clothes, just take care of yourself. You want to take care of your family. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to do for your parents, something you've always wanted to do for a friend, giving back. But the problem is you don't get to budget for this money that you're using, and sooner or later you realize that there's an actual problem, because first of all, you might even spend more than you're earning without knowing. You don't spend it in bulk, but the bits. For example, in a month, if you're earning 30,000, if you give away your 20k, for example, you decide that you're going to church to give, you're giving friends in the same month, you realize that you're left with a deficit, because at the end of the day, you will need to invest in your work still, so all these things, lack of a budget is our problem. We need to calculate, and you don't even need to go to class for this. You need to understand that as much as you're putting your emotions into it, finances are a real thing, and these are bills that are at hand. And if you don't take care of, or rather if you don't plan for it, then it catches up with you, and then you start stressing emotionally, you start taking loans that are unnecessary, and at the end of the day, the people you're trying to please, you will never really please them. Somebody who loves you, somebody who honors you will understand boundaries when it comes to finances. So budgeting is one of the things that we should pay attention to. So the problem again we have with black tax, apart from budgeting, is the savior mentality. And I think this is the elephant in the room, because most people, what you haven't done like all your life, and something that you struggle with, maybe in the family setup, maybe your family has been sidelined in one way or the other, there's something that you see in every other family that you don't see in your family, there's something that you see in other friendships that you don't see in yours, that affects your day-to-day life. It affects your emotions, it affects your mentality in one way or the other. So the moment you have your money, that's what you want to run to. You want to make sure your mommy or your dad is wearing the best of clothes. You want to make sure you're also taking yourself to one of the best joints for lunch dates, and hanging out with friends. You even want to change your circle of friends, that circle of friends that you've been desiring for a long time. That's what you want to change. And let me tell you guys, peer pressure is usually real, and it does not honor age at all. If you do not have discipline mentally, and if you do not have people who are helping you account for things, then you find yourself not having control over what you do. So the savior mentality is when you want to solve problems that people have not solved in, for example, 30 years in 1 month of you earning. And that's a problem, because actually what you're doing is causing more harm than good. We need to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, once you start saving your finances to get to a place where you can do those big things, then it will, because at the end of the day, for example, if you've not been able to renovate your house, for example, or your mother's house, your parents' house, and you get your first salary, and that's what you start doing immediately, then you realize that you will not have even enough finances. So what happens is that you delay. First of all, you don't even finish on your projects, and then you realize that now you have to take loans. And now what happens is that now you start stressing even more, because when you have loans, now your salary is about loans. Every coin you think about is going to loans. And what you would have done initially is just budget, like we said in the first point. Budget, realize how much you're able to do with the little or more you have, and then later on plan for those big projects. So stop trying to save a situation that has not been saved in a million years, in 1 month or 2 months or 1 year of you earning. Think about it. You need to put things down. And I know, because it involves your family, you might get emotional about it. Because it involves your friends, you might get emotional about it. You feel like you're gonna lose these people, but you're not gonna lose people who are genuine with you. And I know placing boundaries is usually the problem, because people sometimes get mad at you. But you see, the habit you start with from the word go, once you start earning, goes a long way into how you relate with these people. If once you start earning, you show or you train these people that, what, I have decided that in this house I'll be paying for electricity because that's what I can do. In this house I'll be buying shopping for a month, for example, because that's what my money can do. Then that's what you're supposed to do. Place boundaries as early as possible. This goes into so many other areas in life, not just finances, even relationships. If you train, even for parenting, if you train your child from the word go that they cannot do this, and when you warn them the first time, the second time, the third time, you discipline them, then they get used to it. You condition them, so even in spending your finances with your family and friends, you need to condition them from the word go. They need to understand, so that you safeguard your peace of mind, number one. You safeguard your relationship, number two. Because when you set boundaries later on in life, when things have, when the rain has started beating, then it becomes difficult. First of all, you sabotage your relationships because they think it's an afterthought. They think now you have decided to just be stingy with your finances, So set boundaries from a very early stage of you earning, and not just being stingy, but just being considerate and being real about what you're earning. Number 3, don't be so forthcoming about your salary. That's the other thing that really affects us. Guys, I was reading the Bible about Abraham and him lying about his wife Sarah. And sometimes, I'm not even asking you guys to lie, but you don't have to be forthcoming about it. Don't get too excited. In fact, we need emotional regulation, guys, when it comes to finances. You need to think about things before you start talking about them. The first instinct for you to do is, once you earn, you're like, oh my goodness, this month they deposited 50k in my bank account. I cannot believe, you are excited about your first salary, especially with the people that you trust. But remember, they also have interests in that salary you're talking about. Remember, they want to be assisted. They're like, I helped my sister go to school, I helped my daughter go to school, so they will give back. They have expectations. That's just human. So what do you want to do at the point where you receive your first salary? Don't be forthcoming. It's either you're not going to talk about it so that they don't have to know, or you need to mention a figure that's lower than what you're getting, so that even if they place expectations on what you're earning, then you know that it is something that you can manage. If they now want you to be helping, for example, we know mothers with chamas, they'll even want to bring you into it, and not because they hate you, just because they're excited as well. Their children are finally earning. Dads also have their fair share of expectations, all these things. So what you want to do is, if you have to mention your salary at all, or whatever you're earning from whatever business you're doing, then it has to be a figure lower than what you get. And I was talking about Abraham anyways, and him lying about Sarah. Why he had to lie is because he had to protect himself. And actually, the Lord covered that whole situation, because the one who was lied to would have suffered, but God saw that he was innocent at the end of the day. And also Abraham, you see that God looks at the motive. So I'm also trying to bring you into the loop to understand that you don't keep that information discreet because you hate your people. You keep it discreet because you actually love them, and you're trying to protect your friendship, you're trying to protect your love, you're trying to protect your peace of mind, and you're also trying to make sure that in future you're going to be able to help them even better. So don't be forthcoming about your salary, don't be forthcoming about your income in whatever business you're doing, so that you're able to manage people's expectations. If you don't do that, then the story is the same, the cycle is the same. You earn, they place expectations, and because emotions are really strong and you're not able to regulate them, you meet their expectations, and then you fail to meet your expectations because now you start taking loans to meet theirs, and the cycle is the same. Your money goes, you can't account for it, and that's the story of your life. It's really difficult to get yourself out of the mud that comes with financial irresponsibility. So what we are trying to do is making sure that from the word go, there is responsibility that has been taken care. You've taken care of your responsibilities the way you're supposed to. For example, apart from what is happening in our country right now, if your people have not been signed up, for a health insurance, for example, that's something that you can sign up to, and you know that it's going to help them, because when it comes to, for example, medical bills, things that are unavoidable, then you have sorted out that for them. Apart from that, there's something that they will be able to see and they will appreciate. See that medical fund, they don't have to go to hospital, so that they might not appreciate it from the word go. But like we said, you can decide, what, I'll be bringing shopping monthly, and you don't have to overdo things. Just do things up to the level in which you're able to, depending on your budget. So it's all about planning. Black tax is all about planning, but from the word go. I know this information is gonna be very tough for somebody who's not been able to set boundaries from the word go, but you can still do so. You can still do so. It might cost you some of your friendships. It might cost you your relationships, even with relatives, because they'll wonder why the change all of a sudden. But if you're starting out, this is especially for you. Remember, I'm a therapist and I've talked to people, and I know that one of the major life issues, they crop up from finances. And it's because of very many decisions, but small everyday decisions that are made that are kind of irresponsible. Maybe just because we decided we are not going to be rational about this, let's be emotional about this. You want to do everything by yourself. You want to save the situation that has not been saved for a very long time, and you find yourself in the same patterns that your parents have been to. You find yourself in the same pattern that your friends have been to. You need to break those patterns. If you notice there's a pattern that is unhealthy in the finances, in your family, in your friendships, then you need to be the one breaking it. So guys, I hope this information has been helpful to you, and I hope that going forward you will make better decisions, and I hope that you will start cutting costs where you need to. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Write down in the comment section, how has your finances been? Like, are you managing your finances as it should be? You know, are you also just trying to manage your friendships, not with your finances, but also other things that matter? Because if you're trying to save your friendships, your family, relationships with finances, it will never come to an end. It will be an ever moving ball that you cannot catch. It will be running after the wind. So guys, tell me in the comment section, how has black tax affected you, and what changes do you think you will make going forward? Thank you for staying with me. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.